Hey, what's up? This is Jared with the Daily App Show. Today we're going to take a look at Audio Footnote, which allows you to leave audio footnotes on audio that you've listened to on your mobile device. So I have a lot of audiobooks on my iPhone and podcasts as well, because I like to listen to audiobooks because a lot of the time I'm doing something where I can't actually be reading a book, so I'm listening to audiobook instead. And then of course I have some of my favorite podcasts that I read or listen to rather than read their websites, and so it works out nice having that stuff. But whenever I want to leave a note or remember something, I always have to write it down, which defeats the purpose of being able to completely listen to things. You've got to have a pen or paper with you, or you've got to go into your notepad and type it in, and sometimes it's just not really that easy to do. So this application allows you to leave audio footnotes on audio that you've listened to. So I could go into my audiobooks in this app, and it's going to load in all the audiobooks that I have on my device, and I have a lot of audiobooks on my device. Thankfully I do, so that I can really show this off, and it loads them all in really nicely, the same way that they would if you were checking them out in the iPod function on your iPhone. So it also shows recents, the recents ones that I've listened to, so I could just tap on that and then hit play, and it'll start to play that audiobook.
The Future of a Radical Price by Chris Anderson. That's me. Prologue.
So if I get to a point where something's said in a book that I really want to remember, I simply tap record note and I leave a note. So right now I'm leaving a note in the middle of this audiobook so that I could recall that note later. Then I can hit save note, and it has saved that note, and it resumes play. And I could do that throughout the entire time that I'm listening to the audiobook. And then when I'm done and I pause, I could go back and see the notes that I've left. Note, and I leave a note. So right now I'm leaving a note in the middle of this audiobook so that I could recall that note later. Then I can hit save. So I could share that note by emailing it out to myself if I want to back up my notes. Of course, I could send those in and email them to myself. And if I'm using something like Evernote, if you have used Evernote before, I could keep those audio notes backed up rather easily using something like Evernote. So Audio Footnote allows you to create those things. So I could hit back now, and I could go back one more time, and if I'm listening to a podcast, which I really like Freelance Radio, I listen to their podcast all the time, so I could be doing the same thing with Freelance Radio.
I love this question because it's different for everybody else, and I think a lot of people are always looking.
So if I wanted to record an audio note here, I could simply just start recording an audio note talking about whatever it was in the freelance folder or the freelance radio that I liked, and then save that note so I could remember it later.
And I think a lot of people are.
And then it resumes play right away. No clicking on anything else. So if I'm at the gym listening to an audio podcast or an audio book or something like that, and I don't really want to interrupt what I'm doing, I'm on a treadmill or something like that, and I don't want to look down and try and type, this is the perfect app. I could just record my note, and then later on I can play it back to myself and type in my note into my computer, or I could transfer the audio note to my computer and then have it all saved there. What's also cool is that this works with iTunes U as well. So if you have iTunes University stuff, all you have to do is go to, in your computer where that file is in your iTunes, right click on it, go to Get Info and change the type from Audio University to podcast, and then it will work in this app. For some odd reason, you have to do that, but that is the quick turnaround that makes it work. And they also have a how-to on that. If you go to audiofootnote.com/faq.html, you can get a walkthrough on how to do that as well. So I think this is a great application. It's $4.99, so for about $5, you have the ability to leave these notes for yourself. Yes, you could do this in other ways, but not without interrupting what you're listening to by having to launch another app and then close that app and go back to your iPod. So it's not very easy for you to do this unless you're using an app like Audio Footnotes. I really recommend that you check it out if you're constantly listening to audiobooks and podcasts and wanting to remember certain things or take notes in a certain way. You can definitely do that with this app and then share them to yourself or with somebody else. So give Audio Footnote a look. You can go to dailyappshow.com/audio footnote and download this app as well. So definitely check it out. We'll see you next time on the Daily App Show.